So let's see here. I guess everything is working. I hope everything is working. We'll see. If if everything is not working well, then we have a different problem. But then we'll fix it. Is the audio is good? The audio works. Just checking, like, before we like run through the entire thing. Anyway, it looks like sort of like it'll work. I'm sorry, I will smoke like during part of this, but you'll have to live. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's just get going. Let's just move on. So when we talk about YouTube SEO, right? One of the first important things that we sort of have to realize is that essentially, when we're talking about optimization, we can add it into sort of two different groups. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna still sort of setting things up on my screen. We can talk about it in two groups, right? We can talk about the sort of innate video power that a video has, sort of what I've earlier called the native ranking factors. There's no actual name for them, it's just what I call them. And the relevancy factors, right? So in native factors, that would be something like watch time or viewer retention or viewer engagement, stuff like that. The things that sort of make the video better in the algorithm's eyes, right? And on the other side, we have relevancy, which would be things like your title or your description or your tags. So on one hand, there's the part of the algorithm that determines how strong a video is, like what it sort of how difficult a keyword it should be able to rank for, or how like what videos it should be able to sort of outrank theoretically. And on the other side, we have the part of the algorithm that talks about, well, sure, it's a strong video or a weak video for that matter, and what should it be ranking for, right? Now, obviously, you can mess with the algorithm a little bit, right? You can make a video so relevant for a keyword that even if it's not a particularly strong video, the algorithm will still consider it so relevant for that keyword, it'll outrank better videos. And you essentially do that by saying, well, it's a less strong video, but it's very, very relevant for this specific keyword, and that tends to work well because so many videos on YouTube are just not optimized in general. So it's pretty easy to sort of convince the algorithm that your specific video is more relevant than someone else's video. That's not that difficult, right? And that's, I think, that's one of the more important factors to understand, right? That there's these two different groups, and we can talk about optimization in both of them. We can talk about optimization of the native ranking factors, and for instance, someone might be uploading videos that are too short, right? So they have a very bad, both total watch time and a bad, like per view watch time, right? And in that case, you sort of optimize the channel in a good way just by saying, well, first off, make longer videos, because that will sort of essentially automatically make your channel do better, right? Not always make longer videos, but that tends to be a thing. And that can still be considered optimization. Now, it's not only optimization towards the search algorithm, that would also be optimization towards the trending algorithm, for that matter, related videos, all these kind of things, right? But it's still optimization. But obviously, when we sort of typically talk about SEO, we talk about the search bar and the search results, right? From looking at all the different sort of questions, particularly on Reddit, that people tend to talk about. And first off, let's just make this incredibly clear really fast. SEO is not just tags. Good question. I'll get to that one. When we talk about a lot of the questions that I see pop up a lot of it is problematic because people don't understand what a keyword is, what keyword research is, and they just tend to not do it very well. Now, keyword research is sort of just a very typical, normal core thing in SEO, not just YouTube SEO, or like in any form of SEO. And it's really what you should be basing your work around. Like, you can do really good work, but if you have really shitty keyword research, well, the results are just not going to be that good. Like, the place where you can really get a lot of views and a lot of exposure is by doing better keyword research. So let's start a bit with that one. First off, what is a keyword, right? A keyword is not a tag. A tag can be a keyword. Just want to get that out there. Now, a keyword is essentially anything that you search. If you type it into a search bar and hit enter, it's a keyword. It can be one word, it can be a sentence. It doesn't matter, it's still a keyword. We tend to talk about long tail keywords also. That just means that it's a keyword consisting of 3 or more words. Now, when you do keyword research, there's essentially 3 main, I suppose, things that you're looking for, right? First, you're trying to figure out what is it exactly that people are searching for. And you want to know exactly what people search for so you can optimize your content to fit that exactly. And that's called exact match. Exact match means without variation, the keyword. Alternatively, there's broad match. Now, just to give you an easy example of what that means, cat videos. If you took that exact keyword, as in cat videos, it's just that's an exact match keyword, right? But a broad match keyword for that would be cute cat videos, or cute cats, for instance, right? Or if your keyword were, I don't know, marketing tricks on YouTube, a broad match of that would be, or it might be, marketing tactics on YouTube, or marketing tactic without the S on YouTube, right? So exact matches just means it's exactly that. Broad match means it can be a bit of everything. Or like obviously closely related to it, right? And when you do keyword research, the first thing is to figure out like exactly what it is people search for, so you can be as exact in your optimization efforts as possible for that specific keyword, right? That's really what you should be starting to go for. And next up, you're doing it to try and figure out how many people are searching for these keywords, right? You don't want to optimize for a keyword that no one is searching for. It's all well and good that you're ranking for like this 10-word keyword in YouTube, but if there's like one dude that searches for it every 3 months, you're not really gonna get any exposure out of it. So that's the next reason you do keyword research, right? And the last reason you do keyword research is to try and figure out what is the competition within that specific keyword. There's no reason to try and optimize for a specific keyword where the competition is very, very high. Let's say you're making, I don't know, a video about Star Wars. I just watched Star Wars. And you're making a video about that, right? A bad keyword for that, a very bad keyword for that, would be just Star Wars, because there's insanely much content within that, right? There's already a lot of content, and already a lot of good content, and already a lot of content that has been watched a lot. Like, if we did a search now, it would be like a bunch of videos, like 800,000 views, couple million views, stuff like that. There's no chance that you're gonna rank for that unless you're a huge, huge channel. So that would be a really shitty keyword, even though it's obviously relevant to what you're doing. Like, there's a lot of people that search for it, you know exactly what it is, but it's still a bad keyword because the competition is so high, right? So when you do the keyword research, you always have to sort of take that bit with you. And that's another thing that I feel a lot of people tend to forget. Now, this is obviously sort of assuming that, like, you can do keyword research in 2 stages, right? You need to do keyword research when you already have a video and you want to figure out what that video should be ranking for. Or you could be a little bit smarter and actually do the keyword research before you make videos to sort of figure out, well, what should I be making videos about? That's a bit more. The second way is more the way people tend to do keyword research on Google or Bing or Baidu or whatever, where you find the keywords, then you make the content. Whereas on YouTube, a lot of people make the content and then they try and find the keywords. But really, it's better if you know the keywords in advance, just so you can tailor your video as sort of specifically to that keyword as possible. And there's several reasons why that would be better. First off, of course, like if you already know the keyword that you're making the video for, you can go and have a look. Do those videos tend to be long or short? You can make sure that you sort of mention your keyword in your transcriptions, and just sort of focus your video around that. That'll, in the long term, be a smarter strategy. But for a lot of people, they already have a lot of videos, or they know they wanted to make a certain kind of video, right? And then they need to find the keyword. It works. It can be done. I'm just saying the other way is better, like if you have a choice. Right. I guess we'll go on a bit to sort of how to do keyword research, just like really basically. But I did want to quickly answer the question from Half Joystick Will Travel, who asked, what defines a video that is too short and is there too long? There's no parameters for that. You could not probably, you definitely could sort of make a little sort of industry report, I suppose. I have some tools I'm working on like to do that specifically, to look within certain keywords and say, well, what is the average length of a video that does well within these keywords, right? And then try and tailor your content to that. If you're talking about specifically just your own videos, you can analyze them obviously with retention. Like going and have a look at your viewer retention. If people are falling off at that point, at some point, you look at what's happening in those videos, or if it's like a common thing throughout a lot of your videos, consider shortening the content up until that point. But usually, of course, there's a too long, right? But I think that varies from person to person. Right now, within gaming, a good length seems to be around the 20 to 30 minute mark. That seems to do quite well if you can keep the video interesting for that long. I see a lot of content that is moving that way. I see a lot of viewers that are fine and interested with content of that length. So for gaming channels, I think that's good. But for instance, if you're a vlogging channel and you said, well, okay, so you're telling me to do 30-minute vlogs. No, I'm not telling you to do a 30-minute vlog. That would probably be overkill. Or you might start a new trend. Who knows? But I think it might be overkill. So it's a bit like asking how long is a rope, and the answer is, well, it sort of depends. So I'm sorry for the wishy-washy answer. Keyword research, right? There's not keyword research on YouTube generally kind of sucks. And the reason is that if you do it on Google, you have this wonderful tool called the Google Keyword Planner, which is a free part of AdWords. These days, I think you need to actually set up an AdWords campaign to get access to it. It's a bit annoying, but it works. And that just makes keyword research so much easier. But the problem is that tool does not exist on YouTube. It existed around 3 years ago, a bit less, maybe 2 years ago. And then YouTube just straight up removed it. And I expect the reason that they're doing a lot of these things is because they'd rather have people not sort of do SEO on YouTube, because it just makes, the more people start doing SEO on YouTube, the more they have to update their algorithm to take that into account, right? So I think what they did instead was sort of, well, it looks like no one is doing this, so let's just and remove the tool and hope no one starts doing it, right? So we don't have that on YouTube anymore. The best tools that I tend to use, I do still use Keyword Planner for it, but I do it in connection with other tools. So for keyword research, I tend to use keywordtool.io, Keyword Planner, and Google Trends, because on Google Trends you can set it to YouTube search and see the evolution. The problem, of course, with Google Trends is that it's a relative number, right? You don't, Google Trends can't say to you, or won't say to you, there are 400 people that, or 400 searches for this keyword last month. It'll just say, well, there are more searches than the month before, or less, or whatever, right? It goes from 0 to 100, and it always goes from 0 to 100. One way you can sort of get around that issue a little bit, because you can compare keywords in Google Trends, right, is to take a keyword that you know a lot of people have to search for, sort of an obvious one. Put in cat, or dog, or PewDiePie, or music, or something like that, something astronomical, right? And you can use that as sort of a benchmark, at least if it's a high volume keyword, to figure out, well, the other one, are there are a lot of people searching for it, or not that many people searching for it, right? That's sort of a cheap way of gaming the system a little bit. It still won't give you the exact numbers, but it'll give you an idea. Next up, of course, you should be taking those keywords and you should be putting them into Keyword Planner, just to see what people internationally, how many people internationally are searching for it on Google. Just keep in mind that the search numbers on Google and the search numbers on YouTube can vary greatly. People tend to search for reviews or how-to a lot on YouTube, for instance, but no one would search for buy camera, or buy book, or Amazon, stuff like that on YouTube, right? But they would do that on Google. So there's a lot of discrepancy. Some of them can be, somewhat related to each other, somewhat the same numbers, but it's really hit and miss. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. But still, Keyword Planner can still be like a really good tool, just to get an idea of whether or not people are searching for it, in what sizes. So once you have your keywords, and if you completely don't know where to start with the keywords, keywordtool.io brings you like a suggested list. Like it types in your keyword into YouTube and then says space, nothing, space A, space B, sort of through the entire alphabet, and just takes all the suggestions and gives you a list. So if you're really blank, that's a good place to start looking for keywords. And then obviously, sort of once you have your keywords, you need to implement those keywords to optimize your video, right? Gotta take a sip of coffee for a second. Okay, so we're moving away from keyword research over to sort of video optimization towards those keywords now, okay? If you have any questions, like, please write them, at least while I'm drinking coffee. Okay. Biggest thing to say here is there's much more to optimizing a video than putting a keyword in your tags. For crying out loud, stop just putting it in your tags. By far, having it in your title is way more important than having it in your tags. I'm sweating. But yes, without a doubt, if there's one place that's most important to have your keyword, it's in your goddamn title, man. You're not gonna rank a video if you don't have your keyword in the title. And preferably you will have that keyword as an exact match. That's what we talked about earlier. But if need be, like, do it as broad match. Awesome, man. I'll get to that a little bit later, but sweet. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Right, you need it in your title. Let's say that your keyword is buy golden bananas. That's a bad keyword on YouTube, but theoretically, right? Your keyword is buy golden bananas. Now, in a perfect world, you could make sure that you have buy golden bananas in that exact form, or buy fresh golden bananas, or whatever. Buy golden bananas specifically in your title, right? But sometimes that's not doable. Sometimes the keyword sounds really weird. Sometimes it's just not gonna fit in your title. Second best thing would be to do it as broad match. So if the keyword was buy golden bananas, a broad match here would be buy fresh golden bananas, right? Or at least make sure you have both golden and bananas in your title. But the more specific, the better results you'll get. Like the more exact match you can get towards the keyword, the better results you'll have. Now with the title, I know some people will ask, well, is it more important that it's in the beginning of the title or at the end of the title? Like, does that make a difference? It does not make a difference, at least not algorithmically. Or if it does, I wouldn't worry about it. That said, it can be smart to have it closer to the beginning of the title, just because if people search for that specific keyword, right, and they find your video and your video has that exact keyword in the title, there's just a bigger chance that people will actually click on your video in the search results. Like, it's just sort of human psychology. Do the same thing with ads on Google. Do the same thing all the time. If people see exactly what they search for, they're going to be a little more likely to click on it. Gonna read the questions for a second. Just hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to some of these questions. It's great if you just like leave them there and we can sort of take them up when they become relevant. Right now, I'll just go through sort of more of the basics of optimizing the video itself, okay? But leave the questions, it's great. So that's just your title, right? Next up comes your description. And this is a problem. This is an area of YouTube that everyone just neglects to the most extreme end of the degree. Like, just fill out your description, please. It can in your description you can have up to 5,000 characters. That's essentially like a pretty meaty blog post, and you should write them all out. I know that's not what people want to hear, but fill that description out. And it doesn't have to be 5,000, but the more the better. If I optimize a video and I have a video description that's less than 3,000 characters long, it's a shitty job. The more the better, and essentially 3,000 at like that's the lower end, preferably. And you want your keyword in there as much as humanly possible. Preferably in a sort of a perfect world of a description that is 5,000 characters long, you would have your exact match keyword in there a minimum of 20 times. The exact match in the text. Preferably more. I'd say, I'm saying a minimum of 20 times, up to a maximum of what, 50, 60 times? You really have to get up there before it starts getting too much. Now, I'm not saying like horribly just spam everything through. You need to write out an actual decent, usable description. But your keyword needs to be in there a fucking ton. Sorry. And that's just your primary exact match keyword, right? But a lot of the time, you'll have more than one keyword that you're going for. Now, I'd say a maximum of 3. But it's in the case of buy golden bananas, right? The several different keywords would be buy golden bananas, and buy fresh golden bananas. That's 3 different keywords, but they're all very closely related to each other. So you want to have those variations throughout the text. And in the case of golden bananas, you would, like, you have the exact match 20 times theoretically, then make sure that you still use the word bananas a lot of the time in the text, apart from just the exact match. Be sure to use golden a lot of the time in your description, apart from the exact match. Write fresh bananas throughout your description, right? All these variations, like your keyword should be there a ton. And in the case of just buy golden bananas, in that example, if I optimized the text and I took just the word bananas, banana should be there in the description like something like 60 times. Like you really need to bonk the algorithm sort of over the head. Nose is itchy. And really make it understand. The YouTube algorithm isn't necessarily like the smartest one ever. It's a little bit old school. It's a lot like Google was, say, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, probably 5 years ago at this point, maybe even a little bit more. So you really need to be a bit aggressive with it, right? Get those keywords in the description. Now, the last one is the tags. Obviously, that's not the last place you can optimize a video, but for now. And you just need all possible variations of your keyword in your tags. A problem that I often see is that people will write their tags out like, in case of golden bananas, let's say I was doing it. The mistake people do is they write like golden bananas, Philip Zeppelin, NovelConcept, Denmark, vlog, review, like all these different things, and they're thinking, well, all of this is relevant to the video, right? And it is, but what it does is tell the algorithm that your video isn't about one specific keyword, it's a little bit about a lot of different keywords. And what that does is that you'll rank really shitty for a lot of keywords, but you don't like, no one goes to page 2, right? Less than probably what? Less than 3% of people bother to go to page 2. No one goes to page 3. Like if you're ranking like 98, no one's gonna watch that video ever for that keyword. So don't try to rank for a lot of different ones, just try to find one to rank well for. And that's why it's a problematic, that's why it's a problem with the tag when people do all the different tags. Instead, what you should do, if it's the banana example, banana, golden banana, fresh golden banana, fresh banana, fresh golden, buy fresh golden banana, buy golden, buy fresh banana. Like every single variation without repeating yourself of your keyword, put that in the tags, okay? And yes, you should have both golden bananas and golden as a tag and bananas as a tag. Like that should be 3 tags. You need all of them in there. You need to repeat them. You need to bonk the algorithm over the head, okay? Okay, so these are actually relevant to what we're talking about right now. Even if YouTube doesn't care about the order in the title, does it care about the order in the description like keywords, right? For example, above the fold versus below the fold. Maybe, I kind of doubt it. Like, I doubt the algorithm analyzes the description that specifically. But there is very good reason to include your exact match keyword in the first around 150, I think, characters of your description. And the reason for that is that part of the description gets shown in the search results. And when people, when the keyword exactly matches what is in your description, that part is bolded out. And you really just want to stand out as much as possible. And trust me, the fact that it's bolded out in the description in the search results, that helps. That makes more people click on it. It just makes it obvious. So there's a human factor to have it in the beginning of the description. But really, your keyword should be in your description so many times that it shouldn't be a matter of, well, what order should I be doing this in? Because if you're doing it right, it should be there. It should be there that so much that, well, it would have to be in the beginning anyway, because like you can't write that much text without it being there. Understand that your keyword should be in the description in somewhere between every second sentence. Like you really, you need to get used to writing in a specific way. And some of you are going to say, well, like I've read through the description and it's really shitty. It reads really weird, right? Do you like golden bananas? I like golden bananas. Do you want to buy golden bananas? In this video, I review fresh golden bananas, which you can buy at goldenbananas.com, right? It's going to sound weird. But you need to do it. And second, no one fucking reads the descriptions, dude. Like, just try to get your viewers to read your description. Like, even if you mention it in the video, only a handful of people are gonna like look in your description, and they're gonna look for maybe something like a link or something. No one's gonna read 5,000 characters. So just make the quality good enough that it's not sort of embarrassingly bad. It shouldn't, like, just make sure that if someone actually does someday decide to read the entire description, there's not something there that they can sort of come back at you with. But that's really the level you should be aiming at, because no one reads the descriptions, right? That, and obviously sort of above the official Google guidelines for spam, right? Obviously. So, and actually, and then there's tags at the end, but that was about descriptions, right? Let's see here. Any special effect, any effect of special characters in the title that you're aware of, brackets, stars, wingdings, whatever. No, as far as I understand, it's looked at as just a matter of like, it's just a character like any other character. I don't think the algorithm looks at those characters any differently than it would, say, a B or an A or a Z or whatever. The only difference would be that A, B, and Z are in a lot more titles than, say, a symbol from like brackets and stars or whatever. But other than that, no, there shouldn't be a difference. That would surprise me greatly. Bit further down, what is the value of closed captions versus descriptions? Would it theoretically be better to include transcription in description versus closed captions, or closed captions just as good for SEO? Include closed captions, like include the subtitles on your video. I don't have a lot of data on it yet, but I highly suspect that there is a correlation between having your keyword in your subtitles and ranking for that keyword. I don't think it's a massive one, but I do think it's there. And I think it's something that's going to matter more and more moving forward as YouTube tries to understand the content of videos better. So definitely include your subtitles. You're sort of making it up as one or the other. You should do both. Have both your subtitles and have your description. And yes, fuck it. Like, use part of your subtitles as your description. That's fine. What I tend to do a lot to help with writing descriptions, which can take a very long time if it's for clients' videos, because I don't know the content. I'm not a specialist in what it is they do. So writing like a huge, like, even if it's bad writing, it takes a while. So what you can do is quote an article, quote Wikipedia, quote a website, whatever. Just don't quote shitty places. Like, quote places that are generally considered good, strong, valuable websites. Don't link to gambling, for instance, but do link to the New York Times for a quote. Don't just take the text. Be sure to link there. Don't do it 20 times. Do it like 2 times. Do it 3 times, right? In your description, and take part of the text, not massive, but like maybe 500 or 1,000 characters, 800 characters, whatever. 500 is probably a good number, right? Find a quote that is about what you're doing. Like, if it's a game that you're playing, find a review. Maybe Polygon did a review of that game, and take part of that review, link to the Polygon article, put quotation marks, everything. Have that as part of your description. That can sort of help fill out the massive amounts of text, right? But it should not be a matter of, should I have subtitles or a good description? You should have both. But I think it's great that you're working on subtitles, because I do think that's going to be something that's more and more important in the future. Copy. I'm gonna take a bit of an earlier question here, and then we'll keep going with sort of the hardcore SEO. Mark Simpson wrote way earlier. What's my view on 360 video? He just purchased a Samsung 360 gear for traveling, and I think that's great. I think especially for vlogging, VR and 360 is gonna like really explode the market. think about vlogs as they are now. A lot of the vlogs essentially work by people sort of feeling like they have a connection. They're friends in a way with the vlogger, right? You get that insight into their life. And you write their comments. Sometimes they respond to your comments. It's a very personal relationship. Now, but you're still watching their videos on a flat screen. Now, if you could actually sit in a room with them while they're doing their vlogs, that becomes an incredibly immersive experience, something that takes it sort of to a next level. So I do think that you will see a lot of interesting new content coming out that way in the future, specifically because of VR and 360 video. So awesome that you're sort of ahead of the playing field. I think that's good. Subversive Acid wrote earlier, it seems that keywords are good for optimizing for search, but what about the YouTube homepage to bump up browse features in YouTube traffic sources? Are keywords at all relevant there? Yes and no. Keywords are relevant in the sense that I think if people watched a lot, let's say you're watching a lot of videos about a specific game, I think there's a chance, I think you up your chance of having another video showing up there from a completely unrelated channel if that channel and video has been optimized for relevant keywords, right? If like to that degree, keywords in your text are relevant to everything else on YouTube as well as like the related videos. If I'm watching a gaming video about Counter-Strike, whatever, I'm old, and I'm watching a video about Counter-Strike, YouTube is not going to say, oh, by the way, you like that video about Counter-Strike? Well, here is a video about I don't know, like the economics situation in Bali, something like that. Why not? Because the two videos are not relevant to each other, right? So of course, YouTube looks at the keywords to make sure that what it recommends people are within areas of what they like. But a lot of that, then we're really getting into how YouTube tailors the search experience and recommended experience for what you've been watching on YouTube, and there's a lot of unknown factors there. So that's a bit more, sketchy. Do channel tags significantly affect SEO for videos, or is it only video tag? Like channel tags, I think they have like close to relevance. Put them in like to be on the safe side. No harm, no foul, sort of. But I highly doubt that they do a whole lot. I think they're sort of a relic in the system, to be honest. Maybe YouTube uses them a little bit for channel recommendations, stuff like that. Maybe those like rare few times where you see a channel actually in the search results. But by and large, I consider the channel tags close to useless. But you never know. Like, use them just to be on the safe side, but I don't think you're gonna get a lot from them. Let's see here. Is there any benefit in doing variations of tags? Let's play. Like, it's difficult for you guys to see because let's play with a parent, like little thingy. Let's play without the thingy. Let's play in 2 words versus in 1 word, and so on. This one is sort of tricky in a little bit because it's essentially the same keyword. Generally, I'd say in that case, no. Maybe the 2 words versus 1 word, I'd include both. But whether there's like an apostrophe, that's what it's called, in the word or not, I would not put those as separate tags. I'm not even sure YouTube would recognize them as second tags. I don't know. I haven't tried. But I wouldn't like make variations when the variations are that close to each other. But then again, you also shouldn't have a keyword that's just let's play, right? You should have let's play SimCity 6 Egypt, right? That would be a much better keyword. I know someone on Reddit wrote a post about this, and they call it sort of a niche within a niche. I get what they're saying. In regular SEO, that's just a keyword. It's just a niche. It's the whole point. But I suppose like for people that don't know a lot of the terminology, it might have explained it better. So yes, in that example, it was that Civilization 6 would be the niche, and then the niche within, or you could say gaming would be your niche, and then the Civilization 6 Egypt gameplay, that would be the niche within the niche, right? Essentially, that's just saying, well, do your keyword research and find a long tail keyword with not a lot of competition. That's essentially the same thing, right? That's essentially what you should be doing. Okay, let's see here. So versus Acid Road, TubeBuddy and vidIQ sometimes ranks differently with apostrophe versus not. Possibly. I'll be completely honest on that. I haven't really checked on whether YouTube looks at them as different search results or not. Google would not, but YouTube, as I said, the algorithm is a little bit funky, a little bit old, so it might. Otherwise, put it into like Google Trends search for YouTube, see if you get different results. Like different searches. If it registers there, there's a good chance that it'll register in the system. If you see there's a variation and it works, put in the variation. If not, you know, I hope that makes sense. Yes, that's sort of the, I think already now, like as you honestly, YouTube keyword, YouTube SEO is not that difficult, at least not compared to sort of regular SEO. So at this point, we've already done the basics, right? So questions, and we'll take them. Otherwise, I'll delve into a bit, I suppose, about one of the new videos by Matt Pack over from The Game Theorist. He talks a bit about the algorithm in a video he uploaded, I think, 2 days ago. We can talk a bit about that. Question. Okay, I was wondering for tags I don't rank for, should I replace them with other tags that I have a higher chance of ranking for? Some of those tags that I'm not ranking for are being useful as a YouTube search traffic source though. Any ideas on what is the best decision? Well, if you're getting traffic on those keywords that those tags are, you're probably ranking in some obscure country or something like that. Or you are ranking for them. Like if you're ranking for them, you're getting traffic for them, like keep them. But as I said, in general, you shouldn't have a lot of different tags. You should really have a very narrow selection of keywords and then just those tags and variations. Think of the tags that you have should all support the same main primary keyword. You shouldn't be going both for camera and for blog. Like if camera is your keyword, find all the variations of that for your video. You shouldn't have all the different ones. I hope that kind of answers your question. Now, Matt from The Game Theorists recently, as I said, uploaded a video. He talked a lot about, and he does now and then, he has some, often like, I know he's a bit like me, number crunching the algorithm behind the scenes a little bit. Super good stuff always. So if you haven't seen his videos on it, he has a couple of ones that are a little bit older too. Check them out, they're really good. One of the more recent ones he did, he was talking a lot about PewDiePie's channel, and for instance, that PewDiePie is sort of going down in views, even though he's still uploading a lot of videos, like, but per video, like not a lot of his subscribers are watching them, for instance, right? Now, I've talked to people I know about these things for a long time. It's part of a blog article I wrote when I was at VidCon in the summer last year, or this year, I mean. And that's essentially, remember what it is people subscribe for on your channel, right? The type of content that people are there for. And if you decide to change the content on your channel, then people will stop. Big surprise, will probably stop watching your content because that's not what they subscribed for. I would highly recommend that people, especially with larger channels so you have more data, that you go into your analytics and figure out what videos people are subscribing on. Now, most people will probably be subscribing on your channel. That's the average, that for most people, more subscribe on their channel than on a video. But go in, have a look, and then say, okay, well, exactly what are these videos and what are the content in these videos? And then remember, when you're making new content, that it has to be content that would be interesting for people that subscribed and like those videos, right? And that's moving forward. You just have to sort of accept that's the kind of content that you're making. And that's also the problem with people that make very varying kinds of content, is that, well, people are going to subscribe for a lot of different things. Like if you're vlogging on your channel, you're gaming on your channel, you're making comedy videos on your channel, comedy sketches, you're doing video effects on your channel, you're doing tutorials on your channel, like all of those different videos are going to have different people subscribing to those videos, right? The person subscribing to a comedy sketch is not going to be the same person that subscribed to a, let's say, a makeup tutorial or whatever. And the problem is, of course, that when you start uploading videos, well, when you upload a comedy sketch, the person that subscribed from the makeup tutorial video in this example, they're not gonna watch the gaming video or the comedy video or whatever, right? And as we know, sort of semi-officially at this point, it's super easy to see, and Matt Pack, he actually spotted these things, like I think about a year ago, 1.5 years ago. If subscribers stop watching some of your videos, eventually YouTube will just stop sending your videos to those subscribers. It works a bit like it just works on Facebook. Facebook has been doing this for ages. So you run into the problem of uploading content that not everyone will watch, and that means that algorithmically over time, your content will just not be sent to those subscribers anymore, even when you upload something that they might actually want to watch. And that creates a second problem, in that how much your video is being promoted has a lot to do with how big a percentage of your subscribers are watching that video and how many views it gets within the first 24 hours to 48 hours of uploading it. So if you have a lot of subscribers that are no longer watching your videos because they're not being sent to them because they didn't watch the original videos because they were on different topics, then YouTube will look at your channel and the videos that you upload and say, well, in general, your videos are not doing that great anymore. That's probably because the content isn't that good anymore, which means that we shouldn't promote your content to other people because it's probably not going to be liked, and then your channel stagnates and sort of goes the opposite direction. And that's the problem with uploading a lot of different content to the same channel, okay? Let's see here, questions. I have, let's see, Beautiful OB writes, if I had a video published and was ranking well, but I noticed a small error in my title, say, for example, I put part 2 when it was really part 3. Would going back to edit and fix that hurt my rank? It might. That's the shitty answer, but yeah, it probably would. Or at the very least, it will probably have a small effect. That's just the way it is. Now, if it's fixing part 2 to part 3, but you're ranking for fresh golden bananas, and you fixed it from part 2 fresh golden bananas to part 3 fresh golden bananas, it probably wouldn't be something huge. It might even go in positive, it might go in negative, it might be 1 rank, it might be 3, it might be nothing. You will probably see a small fluctuation. So if it's for something really, really great, I would not touch it. But generally, I think it's safe to fix. I think fixing that, I think the user experience people get from sort of clicking in on the wrong video, I think fixing that is more important than that tiny variation in ranking that it might influence. Let's see, Subversive Acid wrote, I'd expand Beautiful Obi's question. Does YouTube reset rankings drastically when any changes to metadata, tags, title, description, etc. are made, or do things settle after a while? essentially, if you go in and completely optimize one of your videos, it resets. That's essentially what it does. And I think that's just to make sure that people can jump a video in rankings. So for instance, if you have a cat video ranking for something that was doing really well, you couldn't just change it all to like buy pharmaceuticals and throw a big annotation on it, and it would now rank for something completely different. In my experience, YouTube tends to reset the power a little bit when you drastically change the keywords. Now, the less change there is, the less drastic the penalty is going to be. And in some cases, changing it will actually give you a boost. What I often see, at least in the past, I haven't checked it that much lately, but at least in the past, what we did see is when we optimized the video, it would get a very large boost right at the beginning. It would get right up to the front page, like maybe go from like 80 to like now it's ranking 2, right? And then after a couple of days, it might drop down to like 3 or 4 or 5, and then stabilize there. And what I think happens is that when you optimize a video, like when a video is suddenly ranking for a new search result, YouTube sort of pushes it up a little bit and test the waters and say, okay, with the video is here, how do people like it? Are people going to click on it? Are people going to ignore it? The people that do click on it, do they watch the video for a long time, or does it have really shitty retention, or do they dislike it? By the way, dislikes, likes, same thing. Don't worry about it. Algorithmically, they're both good for you. So I think like YouTube does do that like little temporary boost, right? So yes, there is a reset. The reset can be both good and bad, depending on how good your video is doing now, I suppose. It's all relative. But yes, there is a change. Whew. Okay. What would be another important thing? For crying out loud, like use your analytics, guys. The amount of people on YouTube that I've talked to, especially when I was at VidCon last year, that just don't use their analytics enough. Like most people don't use their analytics at all. You have a lot of really valuable information in there. Even if you're not sort of like me trying to crack any sort of algorithms or anything like that, there's just a lot of useful stuff about who watches your videos. If nothing else, like jump into your demographics. Have a look at ages. Have a look at genders. Have a look at countries. Sorry. Got sort of like a kind of hiccup going. For instance, let's say you're making gaming videos and you're like, everything's going great, but actually without knowing it, you might think that your core demographic is 18 to 28 or 29 males in the US, right? But it might actually turn out that your primary demographic is, for instance, 13 to 18-year-old males. So now you have to actually maybe make content more kid-friendly. Or you might realize that the reason some of your videos are doing really well is because sort of some of the dumb jokes in your Let's Play was actually resonating with a much younger audience. So that's sort of the way you should be going. It might turn out that the genders that are watching your videos, you think primary male might be primary female, might be flipped, right? At least go into that, have a look, see where in the world people are. If you notice a lot of people from a specific country are watching your videos, give a shout out to the people from that country. Like, make people feel welcome. Just go in and have a look in your analytics. Another thing, which is just like the most basic of easy things, your retention. Like, it literally gives you a curve of when people are watching or not watching your videos. Just go in, have a look at your last 10 uploaded videos and say, when are people dropping off? Like, where's the big drop off? And then a mistake a lot of people do is they go to the drop off point in the video and try to see, okay, what's happening here? Like, they'll go to the drop off point, click play and say, okay, why are people not watching this part? That's a mistake. You should go to, maybe 20, 30 seconds or a minute before the drop off point and say, what's going on now? Because if retention in the video skips, it's because people have been bored up until that point, most likely. Like, something has happened that made them stop and drop off there. So when you're looking at your retention and trying to figure out how you can improve your videos, remember to go back and start earlier. Otherwise, you're gonna miss what actually made people leave or like get into the video at that point, right? There's just so much data and analytics. You can figure out generally what your most popular videos are. I actually have a couple of blog posts on this. You can pull all the data down into Excel if you want to work in it there instead, sort of rankings and everything. I cannot recommend enough. Just go in, crying out loud, have a look. Or look at your traffic sources, right? That's a really useful one. If you don't know what it is, it's analytics, and literally just one of the tabs is just called traffic sources. If you want to know the keywords that you're getting traffic from, you go into traffic keywords, traffic sources, and what is it there? I can't quite remember. It's just called search. I think it's just called search. I'm checking now, just so I'm not saying anything bullshitty to you guys. Yeah. So, and it'll tell you the traffic that you've been getting from different keywords. So that's really helpful if you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to track or where some of your traffic is coming from. If you have one video that's much more, which happens a lot on a lot of channels, you have one or two videos that are way more popular than a lot of other videos. Traffic sources will be where you can figure out why that video is more popular. That will be where you can see where you're getting that traffic from. For instance, one of your videos might have been shared on Reddit. It might have hit front page of Reddit. Well, there, like, that's the views. It might be ranking for a really good keyword. There's the views. You might find out that it's mostly coming from like related videos. So apparently you ranking related to another one, but that might also say that that's not necessarily a good video, but you're just sort of randomly getting traffic to that video. So you shouldn't actually imitate the content in that video. You understand what I'm saying? I hope so. I hope this makes sense. Yeah, questions? Otherwise, like, it's a very big field to talk about. So unless we have sort of some general directions, it's going to get a little bit confusing. But we've already been going for 1 hour, so maybe it's good here. I don't know. I can keep going. There's things I would love to talk about, but I'm also curious of what you guys want to hear more about, or if there's areas that you don't understand that we've talked about so far. I'm gonna give you guys a second. Otherwise, we might just call it an evening. I don't know. Right, there is actually, I'm sorry, there were some good questions. Are we allowed to post screenshots for you to look at? Dude, I don't know where you could post a screenshot, but if you can figure out how to give me a screenshot right now, I'll have a look at you. Sure. There's probably, and Half Joystick Will Trouble asked, there's probably no easy way to constitutes content that is too different for a gaming channel. No. It's all about sort of how, like, just look at your content and say, does the person that watched this, would they naturally, if I know nothing about them and they know nothing about me, will the person that watched this video be interested in this video? The most common one is vlogs, for instance. Take it easy on them if you're a gaming channel, right? Because a lot of people are probably there for the games. Also, if you're a gaming channel, look at what type of game people like, right? The type of content that people subscribe to your channel for. Is it strategy games? Is it role-playing games? Is it shooters? Is it brawlers? You know, what kind of game is it? What connected people? Or look at the theme of those games. It might be that people really like one game on your channel, but it's not because it's a strategy game or it's a shooter game or it's an RPG. it might be because of that setting. Let's say you were playing Skyrim and people like that game a lot, but that might also be because you sort of dug into a demographic that really liked the sort of Norse mythology, right? So you should find other games that also have that. Or alternatively, you might say, okay, well, people really like the role-playing game. That doesn't necessarily mean just because someone liked Skyrim doesn't mean they don't like Fallout 4, right? Because it's very different styles of games. So look at the type of content that people have subscribed for and try to sort of find the core essence of that, or even just like ask your subscribers, man, ask them in the video and say like, leave a comment, like tell me about it, right? If you're not sure, like just ask them, why do you like this video? Like a lot of people will be happy to respond to you. And let's see, Subversive Acid Road. Can you talk more about view velocity? Daryl Eves had a presentation on how strategically releasing videos that increase your average watch time can cause the algorithm to notice a channel more. I don't know who's Daryl Eves. I'm gonna do a super quick Google here. Oh, right. That guy. He has some interesting videos. Like I haven't seen a lot of his videos. Also just because of how the subscription box works. I'm actually subscribed to his channel. I don't get his videos. I haven't seen the specific video, so I don't want to comment on that specific video. But I'm sure there are like generally clever ways that you could release them. I know, what's his name? Matt something, not Matt Pack. I can't remember his name right now. I have mentioned him in a blog post or two. Have also talked about view velocity a lot. I personally don't know that much about it. It's sort of not, it doesn't have a lot to do with the search algorithm, I think. So it's a bit outside the area of SEO. Keep in mind that the algorithm in YouTube is sort of fairly broad. So you can know a lot about one part of the algorithm and not a lot about the other part. View velocity is something that I think was really interesting. That I've heard about, the times I've heard about, the times I've read about it. It's not something that I personally know a whole lot about. And the guy I'm thinking about is Matt Gillen. There we go. Matt Gillen. That's the guy I wanted to say. That's his name. Check out his stuff. Really clever guy. He was at VidCon in LA last year. Absolutely fantastic guy. He will be in LA. He will be at VidCon Amsterdam. I know, at least so far it's planned. This coming year, I know I'll be presenting at VidCon like right before him. He's on after me, so sort of high stakes, I suppose. But yeah, check out Matt Gillen. And All Out J, I don't know about the screenshots you're talking about. I'm sort of checking the Reddit threads just to make sure that that you didn't post it there, and you didn't. So I'm not sure what you mean with the screenshots. But if you meant like, will I have a look at specific people's stuff? Sure. I mean, we can spend like half an hour, like having a look at people's videos or channels and stuff like that. We can do like some quick inputs, sort of more case study kind of things. If people want to, we'll do it a little bit semi-publicly. Just put it in the comment box, and we'll have a look at it. Yeah, as Half Joystick Will Travel said, like with screenshots, post an image, like post a link to Imgur or something like that, and we'll have a look. Or if people have specific questions to like videos or their channel, if they, I know some people like optimize a video and they're like curious if it's optimized correctly or well or stuff like that. Paste the video, we'll like the link to the video, we'll have a look at it. But I also understand, like, if people are a little, like, they don't want to put it out there, that's fine. Otherwise, I think we're good. It sort of seems to be quieting down now a little bit. I think we've covered a lot of the main areas. I just think it's a bummer if we end it now and people have questions later. Like, I don't want to end it now and then have like a gazillion questions on Reddit that I sort of have to manually type out. So if we can do it on video, that would be best. And yeah, have joystick will travel. Like, write out your descriptions, man. Everyone does it. Like, as you, like, your descriptions are tiny. Everyone's are tiny. They should not be tiny. Like, write out the entire thing. If you have, like, if you're doing your videos on a script, put the script in there, dude. Like, with your captions. No harm, no foul in having them like both places, I think. And let's see here. User getting there. Put out a video. Let's see if there's anything to look at. Right. Okay. It's a little bit obviously. Hold on. I'm gonna look in the HTML to find the tags. There's some funny tags. Let's take the tags first, right, of that video. Now it's a little bit difficult for me to share. I'll put it in the description of the video later if you're watching this not live. If we look at the tags, there's a lot of different tags. Baby, newborn, babies, new baby, daddy, diapers, new parents, pregnancy, pregnant, getting there, NC, wheelchair, paralyzed, husband, wife, disabled, funny, quadriplegic, second trimester, married, getting there, C-section, handicap, and so on. All of those are essentially different keywords. And you should have chosen one keyword that you wanted to rank for. When I look at this, that's what we talked about. Maybe you weren't here at that time. That's the classic mistake of having too many different keywords, and that's just really obvious in your tags. If it was, let's say, and second, all of the keywords, they're way too, at least most of them, are way too generic. On YouTube, fair enough, on YouTube, maybe searches like pregnancy symptoms or first-time parents may be okay keywords, just because I don't think there's that much competition compared to a lot of Let's Play titles, for instance. But it's still relatively generic keywords. And if you were going for the keyword first-time parents, right, then that needs to be there a lot more. Then you need to resort all your tags for that keyword. The second problem is, see, you're then sort of trying to figure things out here on the fly. Hold on. Oh, a lot of people wrote, sorry. Sorry, there's a lot of questions that I completely missed. And yeah, Daisy, and that works. So, but yeah, like when you're looking at your again here with getting there's video, the main problem is keyword research, right? The title of the video is "Husband Learns About Newborn Baby Diapers from Pregnant Wife." Yes, but what's the keyword there? It's not newborn babies, it's not babies, it's not diapers. And if that is your keyword, then it's way too generic. So the problem is that you need a specific keyword for that. Otherwise, and then obviously write out a long description. Consider using more new lines in your description just to make it easier to read. YouTube sort of bundles everything very much together, so it can be a little bit difficult to read. So apart from that, let's see here. There was someone else that posted some questions. David the Gamer wrote, so watch time is what really gets your video ranked higher. But how do small YouTubers get that versus someone who already has a big fan base that gets them watch time. Okay, right. This was we sort of handled this quite early in the stream. First off, there's many more algorithms than just watch time, and at least correlation-wise, user engagement correlates way higher with ranking for a keyword versus watch time. Watch time is very important, but it's not the end-all be-all that a lot of people make it to be. It's mostly something that you should worry about if you constantly upload very short videos that are like 3 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. If, for instance, like a work example for me would be a lot of the clients that we have upload TV commercials. So they're like 30 seconds long or 15 seconds long. And for videos like that, watch time become a massive problem, right? But otherwise, there are a lot of other algorithms to work with. Second, the way you overcome it is by finding, with good keyword research, there it is again, the keyword research. If you take nothing else away from today, keyword research. With good keyword research, first off, you find a keyword that doesn't have a lot of competition. Find a keyword with volume without a lot of hardcore competition, right? And yes, that's going to take you a little bit. It's not going to be like a 5-minute thing. It is going to take you a little while. That's just how it is. It's like that on YouTube. It's like that on Google. And second, you can optimize your video so well that essentially you're telling the algorithm, sure, my video might not be considered as good as the other one, but my video is much, much more relevant to this keyword. And that's how you would rank it. So you rank the keywords by out-relevanting a stronger video that might not be optimized as well as yours. Now, if you're asking, well, what if that video is also really well optimized, and what if there's a lot of videos that are really well optimized and they're really strong for this keyword? Well, then find another keyword, okay? You're not going to be able to rank on all keywords. It's just not going to happen. And yes, if a massive YouTuber really optimizes their videos, no, a small YouTuber won't stand a chance versus ranking for that same thing, probably. And that's just, you have to deal with that in the same way you have to deal with it in normal business. You have to deal with it on Google, in marketing, on big, like, you work with what you got, right? So it's doable, but if it's such a big problem, it's probably because you're going for keyword genres, topics that have too high of a competition. Half Joystick wrote, is there any typical fall-off curves for retention, or is it all over the place? I don't know, man. I would love to know, but I don't think so. Now, do remember that in retention, you can have it as absolute retention, which is how many people are watching your video at that time. Or you can have it as, what's it called? Well, contextually based, I suppose, on how typical videos of that type do on YouTube. Like, you can watch both. I suppose, like, the most important part would often be look at how other videos are doing, and is your video overperforming or underperforming, right? And that's what you want out of it anyway. So that's what I would look at. Okay, there's several videos now. David, paste in your URL and we'll have a look at it if we get to it. Dacian Grata Music plopped one in. We'll have a look at that. Now, music covers, like, music is always difficult. Not so much covers, but music itself is sort of difficult, because essentially, if you're a band, you're trying to rank for a keyword that people aren't searching for, right? And I'm looking at your tags now. It's like Dacian Grata, Dacian Grata, Dacian Grata music. Those are, like, that's good. Metal, guitar, cover, out. video game OST, video game guitar cover, good, but different keywords now. Ernie Bowl, Slinker, Ample Sound, Canon Power Shot, Canon, all those should be gone. Meme should be gone. Like, you really need to, if you're going with the meme, then that's, again, when we're looking at it, the problem here is that you haven't decided on a keyword and you're spreading everything too thin. Look at specifically the keyword you want to go for and write everything. And everything includes the title, the description, the tags, preferably even like a thumbnail, playlist titles, playlist notes, playlist descriptions, everything. Tailor that around the keyword that you chose. And that's going to be worth it because you did good keyword research, right? Because we've talked about the keyword research. You do it. You spend your time on it. Again, that's the main problem I see with that video. Let's jump on to the next one, just because there is quite a few at this point. And again, keywords are not the same as tags, right? Not the same as tags. Tags can be keywords, keywords can be tags, but they're not just one and the same. Please stop thinking that. So when I'm doing this, I'm not looking at your keywords. Specifically, I'm looking at your tags, and then based on experience, I'm guesstimating what your keywords are based on the tags, right? But okay, so Air Demon sent a video. Final Fantasy walkthrough, Galden Quay, let's play. Okay, and with the tags, actually pretty decent. FFXV walkthrough, FF15 walkthrough, FFXV gameplay, Final Fantasy ending, gameplay part 1, Final Fantasy 15 walkthrough part 1. We're getting there. This is a lot more the correct way of writing tags. I still think there's a problem in that it seems that your keyword is just sort of Final Fantasy, what is it, like 13? 14? 15? I don't fucking know. Final Fantasy walkthrough, essentially, right? And that's a relatively broad keyword. It's a little generic. I'm assuming there's a fair amount of competition for it. I would look at seeing if you could find an even more specific keyword, just because you're a very small channel, right? The video has 38 views, 1 like. At that point, when you're really starting out, you're gonna have to take the scraps. You're not gonna get the awesome keywords right at the get-go. You have to start small, then you have to work your way up. The way you write the keywords in your tags, pretty good. Like, definitely in the right direction. It could still be tweaked a little bit, but definitely in the right direction. The problem is, it's probably too generic a keyword with too high competition, and that's why it's not doing that well. Second, your description could be like filled out a bit more, but it's you know, it's not bad. I would try to use your exact match keyword more in the description, but overall, you know, we're getting there. Let's have a look at the next one. And half joystick will travel. Yes, that is what relative retention is. Sorry, very, very slow answer. Let's see here. Adventure Academy wrote, this may be off topic, but I'm doing an experiment with AdWords to promote my videos. Most seem to drop in 1 minute. Is this normal? What are your thoughts on AdWords? Search result ad? Yeah, I know. But AdWords can be a great way. Like, it's just advertising. I mean, the company that I work at as sort of my day job, over 50% of our revenue is from running ad campaigns. If you're seeing that a lot of people drop off, then look at targeting other keywords. If you're saying, well, how can I target other keywords? Then that probably means you're doing it. I don't know if YouTube still does that, but it had sort of a promote button where it would automatically promote your videos through AdWords. And it was really non-technical. But in AdWords for video, at least like the real setup, you can choose specifically the age groups that you want to target, the genders that you want to target, the countries you want to target for the specific keywords and topics. You can do it both as a pre-roll. If it's a full long video, I wouldn't do pre-rolls, but you could do it in search and related, and I think that could be very good. But if you're getting bad results, it's because you're targeting a demographic that's not relevant to your video, right? And you should find a different demographic to target. I think advertising for videos can be great, especially for smaller channels. It surprises me that not more people are willing to spend like $500 and then get, you know, a couple hundred subscribers, a couple of thousand views, stuff like that, instead of struggling from like maybe 2 years to get the same result, right? Fuck it, just save up a couple of $100, even just $100, read a couple of blog posts on how to do it well, and get some results. Like, the time savings in that is just enormous to me that I'm not understanding why not more people are doing it. Let's see here. Umbra Autos Roads. Been here a while and listening. We'll post a link for all my videos. Maybe you can give me an insight why I got so many views in just 2 months. That's difficult. It's difficult for me to say why a certain video has gotten that many views versus other videos when I can't see your analytics. So yeah, but jump into analytics, traffic sources, type in that specific video, then go into analytics, traffic sources, and look at where the views came from and in what period they came from, right? And there you go, then you figure out where it was. Zero Budget Geek, I'll be uploading the entire thing afterwards, so don't worry if you want to watch it from the beginning. I'll leave it on YouTube, don't worry. Right, and a half joystick will travel road. I've had great success with AdWords this year. I absolutely second using it. Just look up advice on it first. Yes, AdWords, if you don't know anything about AdWords, it can be a little bit daunting at first. I mean, there's a reason that you can pay people at my company $200 an hour to just run your AdWords campaigns, right? Not even like what we advertise for. That's just the hourly rate of running them for you, like setting them up, finding the keywords, all these things. So it can be a little daunting. There are things that can be done good, bad, but essentially, yes, like try using AdWords. I think it's a huge missed opportunity for a lot of smaller channels. Yeah, and Adventure Academy wrote the same thing. I've doubled my subs. And 12, yes, but I'm small. Well, you know, we all start small, man. But it cost me $25. Yeah. And I did a promotion to get $100 in free ads. Yes, usually for AdWords, if it's the first time you're using it, you'll get like a free coupon for like $100 in free ads or stuff like that. Yeah, it's a good way to sort of bootstrap your channel, get a little boost right at the get-go. Now, if you're really fucking clever, if your channel is a little bit older, if you have like if it's been around for like 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, and you want to do this, have a look at find out what your most popular videos are. Have a blog post on it, try and look it up. It's not just your likes. Either that or look at what videos people are subscribing for, and then run your AdWords campaigns on those specific videos, right? Or even if you're really clever, you make a new video specifically for your AdWords campaign. So, or make a video at least with that in mind. It could be like a normal video on your channel, but you keep it in mind. So the calls to action to subscribe to your channel, the throwbacks to your different videos to sort of send those viewers around, you might want to focus extra much on those aspects in that specific video because you're putting in money to advertise that video, right? So you might as well get the best results for your money you can. And again, why more people are not doing this, I don't know. When I get around to recording a bunch of videos for this, essentially I need to redo all my blog posts about this videos. Gonna take ages. That's what I plan on doing to sort of kickstart a lot of it. And if you're smart, you optimize the video beforehand, so the video is already optimized for SEO when you start your AdWords campaign. Now the views and watch time you get for AdWords don't count in video strength. That's also what, so you can't buy a top placement, right? You can't just spend a lot of money on ads and then instantly rank. Well, trust me, I know I've optimized videos that have had huge ad budgets. It doesn't work like that. But the interaction that you get from that counts. When people share it and other people view it, it counts. If people go over to other videos, if they leave a like, if they comment, all these things still count. So you can still get a lot out of it. I would just really recommend optimizing the video first, then running your ad campaign. And if you're running the ad campaign for specific keywords, make sure to run the ad campaign for the keywords that you've also optimized for, okay? Okay, so David the Gamer wrote, I do Let's Plays. I'm playing a horror game called Araya. Yeah, man, I've been looking at people doing it in VR. It's fucking hilarious. Been doing YouTube for 5 months now. Here's the video. I try to do the tags the best I can. Well, dude, let's have a look at your tags. But again, I want to make it very clear to everyone, your tags are not your keywords are not your tags, and there's a lot more to optimizing a video than just your tags. Again, the title, it's more important to have your keyword in the title than it is in your tags, okay? But let's have a quick look. See, the problem here is, and I get it, but again, it's a bit about keyword research. But yes, like if you decided that your keyword was just Araya, you've done well. The problem is that just Araya is not a decent keyword, right? It's way too broad. So your keywords right now are Araya, Araya gameplay, Araya playthrough, Araya walkthrough, Araya let's play Araya, Araya part 7, and so on. But those are only the same sort of type of keywords to humans. To a computer, the only thing that goes, like the only consistent part of those tags is Araya. And you're not going to be ranking for just the keyword Araya. So you really need to expand on those keywords a little bit. The way you've written them is pretty good. But again, we're back at a problem of you needing to do better keyword research, essentially. And then that's sort of made a bigger problem by the fact that your title is very bare bones. And again, in your video title, which is just Araya Alien Baby Part 7, man, YouTube. Like the keyword there is essentially just Araya, right? And that's not gonna work. Like it's too broad. Now, if you had taken the keyword, say, Araya Thai horror game, for instance, then we'd be getting somewhere. I have no clue if people are searching for that. But that would have been a much better keyword, especially for like a really small channel, right? Much larger chance that you'd be ranking for that. And then you would have that in your title. You would need that in every single title. And write out the description, obviously, which is very bare bones. Android gameplay, you are welcome, man. Happy to have you here. Let's see. Hygienist wrote, hey, first, thanks for this webinar. You just said that your tags aren't your keywords and your keywords aren't your tags. Could you just give a quick rundown on what we need to take into account for our keywords? Like, you have tags and description. Are there other places we need to watch? We'll we're sort of redoing this topic again and again as people come in and people ask the same question. But yes, like look at, I have a blog post on keyword research. Do that. Go through that. Your keyword needs to be in your title. It needs to be in your description. It needs to be in your tags. We ran through sort of how to basically optimize a video in the first like half hour, 40 minutes of the stream. Spent a lot of time on that, especially just like the first 15 minutes. But yes, it needs to go through all of that. What I would recommend, just so we don't like waste people's time, is that once I'm done with this, I'll have the whole thing uploaded to YouTube. Go back and rewatch sort of the start of it, and we go through it there. Let's see, have joystick, had a video. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah. Right, abduction. Oh man, I sort of ended up, or is this a different one? Oh no, it is that one. Yeah, I did that in VR. It's a good game. But I ended up giving up just because I'm not much of a puzzle person. So the keyword seems to be what? Let's play abduction? Yeah. Blind? Or sorry, are you playing it blind? I don't have any audio on. Again, I say the problem here is keyword research, because the keyword let's play abduction is probably a fairly populated keyword with a lot of competition. Or is this blind? Are you literally playing it like a blindfold or something? I don't know. The way you write the tags are not bad. There's a few tags that I would probably remove, stuff like abduction episode 1, maybe not. Cyan abduction, is Cyan the company that made them or something? But Cyan abduction, but otherwise, yes, that's like the way you write your tags is pretty good. Generally done correctly. Just consider LP abduction part 1. Like LP will probably not get translated in the algorithm to let's play, so that one's an iffy one too. But generally, it's good. The problem is that it's a bit more of a generic keyword. You should look at something that's a little bit longer with a little bit less competition, and then write out the your description a lot more. Write your video description. Okay. Dacian Grouter Music wrote, since watch time is pretty helpful, what do us music cover artists like me and Subversive Acid need to do? Since our videos are usually 3 to 5 minutes. Man, musicians on YouTube are actually sort of screwed a little bit by the algorithm for a variety of reasons. So it's a tough one. What you can consider doing is ending videos with a blog segment afterwards. Like you can do, let's say, a video cover, if you're doing cover or your own song, and then after that have like another 3 to 5 minute segment where it's like a little vlog, right? And you could just say either like talk about the inspiration for writing the song, if it's a cover, why you wanted to do the cover, how you're doing, and what it was like learning it, stuff like that, and try to expand your video length that way. Second, just remember, watch time is not the end all be all. I know a lot of people think it is. It's really not. It is one out of many different parts of the algorithm that helps make a video strong. It's perfectly normal for music videos to have shorter watch time. Instead, just make sure that they have great retention to make up for it. For instance, a lot of music videos ranking in top 5 literally have over 100% retention. I have around 105, 110% retention. That's because people keep rewatching the video to listen to the music, right? So make up for it in other ways. But yes, it is uphill a little bit. Let's see here. And Zero Budget Geek sent a video that I'll have a look at. I've been trying to learn SEO. I feel like I'm not getting it. Let's have a look at
And the reason I'm looking at everyone's tags first is just because that's the easiest way for me to get an idea of what your keywords might be that you're going for, right? Seems pretty decent. Space Hole Deathwing, Space Hole Deathwing Gameplay, Space Hole Deathwing Let's Play, Space Hole Deathwing Walkthrough. But now, generally, yes, it's good. If your keyword was Space Hole Deathwing, then this is a good way to write your keywords generally, right? Going good. The problem is that it's not necessarily a good keyword because your keyword is just Space Hole Deathwing. That's the primary game name as far as I know, right? Everyone is going to be trying to rank for that. So there's going to be a lot of competition, which is why you're probably not going to be ranking for it because you're going to be up against huge game channels that are already there on the keyword. So you have to sort of, until you have to wait a little bit before you go for those kind of keywords. They're a little bit too aggressive. Space, let's have a look at your description. Seems pretty good. Again, if the keyword was Space Hole Deathwing, it's not bad. There is one problem though, is that Space Hole is there quite often, but Deathwing is not so much. Deathwing only appears in your description 7 times, which is not a whole ton. Write out the description more. Have your keywords the exact match keyword even more in there, but it's not bad the way you're doing it. The main problem again is that you've chosen a difficult keyword to try and rank for. So it comes back to the keyword research phase that you have to think a little bit broader, you have to be a little more creative, and you have to accept that when you're a small channel, you have to sort of get the breadcrumbs off the table from the other big guys, at least in the beginning, okay? But otherwise, the way you did it is not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay. Yeah, I think I got everyone's videos at this point, right? Went through everything, I think. But yeah, no, that was a good way of doing it. Let's see. Half Joystick wrote, for games, it's kind of hard to find alternative keywords than the title of the game, though, isn't it? Yeah, not really, man. You're thinking too narrowly. First off, Araya, right? We just talked about that. You could also have had, in that case, Araya, I'm sorry, a tire horror game Araya, right? That would have been a better keyword if people are searching for that. Otherwise, you might want to like tweak it a little bit. Or Araya VR horror game, right? If you were doing it in VR. Things like that would probably work better. Or if it in that case, your keyword could also be not Araya. Your keyword could be Thai horror game, right? Or Thai game. That could be your keyword. Or your keyword could be something that's much longer, something like Araya horror game gameplay or walkthrough or something, and have that entire thing. You have to think a little bit broader. You have to be a little bit more creative on how you handle the situation. Zero Budget Geek says, asks, so what kind of broad keywords should small channels go for? It's not like that. There's not a list of keywords. You have to go out and do that research for yourself. I do have a blog post on it. I probably will do a lot more on it because it seems to be one of the areas that a lot of people are really confused about. Otherwise, just Google like keyword research. A lot of what you'll learn about doing keyword research on Google, you'll be able to learn at least sort of with minimal transition problems on how to do with YouTube. The feeling that I'm getting from a lot of people is that it's not that you don't understand keyword research, it's that sort of almost the concept of it is there's a misunderstanding. So look into it. It is going to be a little bit difficult at first. It gets easier over time, but it is an important focus area for everyone here, I think. Let's see here. David the Gamer asks, so how can I know what tags, not tags, dude. So how can I know what keywords people are looking for? Is there a website to check what keywords? Tags are not keywords, dude. Tags are specifically what you write in YouTube in the box called tags. It exists nowhere else. That's what a tag is. It's the things that you have in that box. Everything else, no. And the terminology is important here, because if you looked up, if you typed into Google and said tag research, there would not be anything there. Or how to do good tags for YouTube, you'd get shitty results. So here it's important to understand that you're talking about keywords and you're talking about keyword research, okay? And yes, there are a bunch of sites. We went through it in the very start of the stream. Keywordtool.io is a good place to start to get ideas. Then follow that up with getting estimates in Google Keyword Planner, even though it's not comparable directly to YouTube because the numbers are from Google and not YouTube, so keep that in mind. And when you sort of have 3-4 different keywords that you would like, use Google Trends YouTube search. You can get the numbers there, and that will also, in some, if there's a chance for it, it will recommend you other good keywords also to check out to get an idea. That's where you need to go and do that. I hope that kind of answered it. There's also, I linked to a blog post in the description of the live stream here, so you can check that one out. And as I said, afterwards, I'll upload the entire thing. We went through it in the beginning as well. Let's see. Shoddy Gamer Road. I'm very new to this, so having a seasoned eye, have a look at how I've done my SEO would be massively helpful. Let's have a look then, mate. Let's have a look, and you are welcome. But again, keyword research, keyword research, keyword research. That's the common trend that I'm seeing here from pretty much all of you. Get better at keyword research, okay? Spend half an afternoon on looking into that. Seriously, it would do wonders for you. And let's see, have a look at your tags. Shadowrun, Dragonfall, Shadowrun, Dragonfall. Gameplay, Shadowrun, Dragonfall. Let's play. We're running into the same problem here that we've seen with everyone else, right? That your keyword is Shadowrun, Dragonfall, but that's just the game name. That's a very competitive keyword. Unless it's like a little tiny indie game that no one plays, that's, you know, a very competitive keyword. That's a very broad keyword. You want to find out specifically what it is people are searching for and then go for that specific keyword. So find out what is unique about the way you play the game and then perhaps try to optimize in that way. Or as I said, when we were talking about the Rhea game, look at keywords that are very relevant to your video but are not like exactly just the video name. Like think creatively, think a little bit outside the box, right? Otherwise, the way the tags are written themselves, if like when Shadowrun Dragonfall, if that's the keyword, the way the tags are written is not horrible. It's okay, but you should remember to also have just Shadowrun as a tag and Dragonfall as a tag. And then if Shadowrun Dragonfall gameplay, if that was your keyword, then you should have Shadowrun gameplay as a tag, Dragonfall gameplay as a tag, and only gameplay as a tag. That should also be included, right? And then of course in your actual title, again, exact match. And write out your description, have your keyword in there. As I said, it's up to 5,000 characters. If you fill out the 5,000 characters, have your exact match keyword in there 20 to 40 times, minimum of 20 times. Around 40 times seems to be good, but it can be more. And then on top of that, the parts of the keyword scattered around, right? So again, we went through this a bit more in detail in the beginning. And David the Gamer asks, so what's the best keyword tool to use? There's not one good keyword tool, man. If only there was. In fact, the keyword research tools on YouTube are generally so bad that I'm looking into just making my own. Or not looking in, like working on making my own. Again, have a look at keywordtool.io, add a keyword planner, Google Keyword Planner, and Google Trends YouTube search. Zero Budget Geek, no. The question is, my channel has been growing slowly but steadily. Is it worth it to still compete for high-profile keywords, sort of playing the long game? I feel like over time I could legitimately compete. Yes, but over time your video is not going to be ranking there. First off, your videos will not just, at least unless you get like a random viral hit, none of your videos will randomly just explode in views, right? So no, look at keywords that you can rank for now. It's fine to have a common theme in that where you're thinking the long game. I would never be able to. I used to do vlogs about Japan and Tokyo while I lived there. But so I used to do like little lessons about how to learn Japanese or Japanese culture and stuff like that. Now, I would never rank for the keyword Japan or Japanese, but that might be a keyword that I was sure was always part of my tags, my description and stuff like that, just so in the long term, as my channel, if I had continued with it back then, grew bigger and bigger, eventually I would have an easier time ranking for those keywords because YouTube would already consider my channel relevant for those keywords. But that's a very long-term strategy, and I mean like 1, 2, 3 year long-term strategy, if not more, right? And it's not something that you're going to be able to see the results of now. So it should be something that will not disrupt the keywords that you could be ranking for right now. You shouldn't destroy that in hopes that you'll magically rank for something later. At least, and besides, like the videos you have now will not be the ones ranking for those in the future. So I hope that explains it. Yes. I think that was all of them, at least now. We can do like one last quick round if there's anything, any questions or stuff like that. I feel like most of what people have sent me, all the videos, stuff like that, tend to have the same problems. Again, keyword research, keyword research, keyword research. If we're summarizing here at the end, your tags are not keywords, your keywords are not tags. Do more keyword research, and use your keywords in more places than just your tags. Make sure you have it in your title. Make sure you have them many, many, many times in your description. Write out your full description, and then obviously have them in variations in your tag. But again, keyword research, keyword research. Half Joystick Will Travel asks, can you say if it's good, bad, or neutral to just reuse descriptions and tags for a long series? It's bad. Or at the very least will not get you good results. I don't think it will straight up hurt your video, but it's not going to do anything good for it. Why? I don't know. It sort of surprises me that YouTube is looking that much into sort of duplicate content between it. But in my experience, the more sort of generically you write them, the more you reuse them for every video, the less well they do. Exactly why that is, I'm not sure. We do know that Google has a duplicate content algorithm, but it would be weird if YouTube applied that to descriptions, since it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the content of the video. But long story short, it doesn't work as well as if you just have like one unique, really good description for each video. Worst case, what you should do is use part of it, reuse parts of your description and tags. And I'd say it hurts less to have the same tags as it does the same video, same description. It's fine to have a lot more of the tags going, be the same for every video. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense just to have the same description. But what you could do is have parts of the same description. Have part of your description for that video series be standardized, and then write a couple of opening paragraphs. Write new ones there. Write a new ending paragraph. Maybe have a couple of quotes about, if it's a gaming channel, have a couple of quotes that you vary in between each description to make them a little bit more unique. So let's say you have 5 quotes and you use 2 of them or 3 of them in each description, you can sort of cycle through them. That would be a way to sort of help speed up the process. I know it's a lot of writing. It takes time. SEO takes time, guys. It's a long-term strategy, kind of long-term strategy anyway, especially if you're smaller. It pays off in the long run, but it does take time. So yeah. Are we calling it here? We might be calling it here, which has been about 2 hours. So I hope you guys, I hope it was kind of useful to you. I hope you learned something new. I think I don't see any new questions, so let's just say this was it. Call it here, call it a night. I will make sure to upload the entire thing here on this on the channel if you missed the beginning. Though we did recap a lot of it towards the end, I feel. Without sort of trying to plug my own blog and stuff like that, seriously, check out some of the stuff I linked in the description. It answers several of the questions that we went through today in sort of text form. So maybe you'll get something out of it there. I do tend to hang out a lot on Reddit to ask questions, but if you want on Reddit, if you want me to answer a specific thing, like tag my name in it, and for the most part, I'll be happy to run in and answer any questions that you have. Will I do more of these in the future? Maybe. My plan is to just do more videos in general. Actually upload and create the videos. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I just didn't have a decent background and stuff like that for recording, but I have now. So I'm actually planning on doing some videos over the holiday season. And I know my Reddit AMAs have been sort of decently popular. I think this went kind of well for a very quick, semi-impromptu kind of thing. So I very well might. Now the question is how I turn this off. And you guys and girls have a good evening. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm happy to hear that you all enjoyed it so much. Best of luck with all your channels. And I will see you around. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I got the order wrong. Stay awesome. Have a good one. Bye.